Good evening to one and all. On behalf of Sri Ishwar College of Engineering, Coimbatore, we warmly welcome everyone for attending the ACT sponsored 2 weeks blended FTP on radiation exposure and its impact on human health. Today, we are going for session 6. The topic of the session 6 is new education policy, the reforms in higher education. The resource person is Dr. Krishnan Kant, the principal, Agarwal College, Faridabad, Haryana. In the small introduction, and we hand over the session to Professor Sangeeta to give a short note about the speaker. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, sir. I am profoundly delighted to take an opportunity to introduce the guest of honor for today's session, Dr. Krishna Kant. Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Dr. Krishna Kant, Principal, Agarwal PG College, Balabgarh, Haryana. Sir is an academician par excellence and visionary leader in the education era. He is having teaching and administrative experience of more than 33 years. He joined as principal of this college on 2009. He holds a doctoral degree in physics. He has been an outstanding researcher with more than 325 research publications in international and national journals and conferences. He has been to USA, Japan, Spain, Taiwan, Iran, Mexico, and Austria for academic and research pursuits. Sir has completed 5 research projects and 4 research scholars have completed their PhD under his guidance. Sir has co-authored and edited 15 books and 6 conference proceedings, 1 design patent granted under Intellectual Property Rights IPR, 2 patents published and another design patent filed. True to his spirit, Sir has organized more than 80 national as well as international seminars, conferences, FTPs, and workshops. Sir has contributed as speaker in 107 national and international conferences, seminar, webinars on discipline-specific physics topics and higher education assessment and accreditation, internal quality assurance system, quality in teacher education, best practices, NEP 2020, and so on. Sir has also chaired more than 36 technical sessions in national and international conferences. Besides 50 international conferences and more than 100 national conferences, he has also attended several assessor training programs at NAC and orientation, refresher, and FDPs organized by academic staff, colleges, and other institutions. Sir is member General Council, NAC, and has been part of peer team experts for assessment and accreditation of higher education. He is nominee of UGC in governing body of various colleges. He is member of various statutory bodies and committees, EC, AC, COAT, and IQAC in various universities, and member of various international and national bodies and societies. Sir has credits many awards, with Best Principal Award, National Education Excellence Award, honored by Honorable Governor Haryana thrice, and Vice Chancellor of MDU Rohtak, and many more. Under his able guidance, the college has touched newer heights in sports as students have won various gold medals and awards at national and international level. As well, Paralympics 2020 Tokyo, Deaf Olympics 2021, Brazil, and Junior World Championship. Sir is endowed with vision to make quality and excellence the motto of higher education institution in India, as he has ensured 360-degree holistic development of the institution, being teaching, research, or sport. So we are very delighted in welcoming you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now the session is over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam, for such a nice introduction. At the outset, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
I wish to thank the authorities, the management, the principal, the head of the department of physics of Sri Ishwar College of Engineering for providing me this opportunity to speak on this 15 days ATAL FDP program. Special thanks to Dr. N. Krishnamurthy, who could rope me in this ATAL FDP program. And I was told by him that, sir, you have to speak on a topic which will be different from all other topics which will be discussed in this 15 days ATAL FDP. And my topic is about the topic which everyone is talking in the country everywhere. Lot many seminars, conferences, workshops are being organized in the country since long. And if we calculate the total number of seminar, workshop, conferences, then maybe it can be recorded in the Guinness Book of World Record. But I was told that I have to talk about the expected reforms in a higher education system, because all the participants who have joined this FDP today, they belong to the higher educational institutions. In my presentation, I have taken certain photographs and certain contents from open educational resources. So I acknowledge and express my gratitude to the authors from whose books and websites the text or presentation material has been taken. My presentation will roam about why, what, how, and finally the outcomes. Why means why this NEP 2020 was required. What reforms have been recommended or expected as per the recommendations of NEP 2020. How those recommendations or reforms will be implemented in such a large country having huge number of institutions, more than 50,000 colleges and other higher education institutions and 1,000 universities. And if at all, as everybody is talking about and working behind it to implement NEP 2020, since the recommendations are in a time-bound manner, what will be the outcomes? So why it was required? What is there? How will it be implemented? And what will be the final outcomes that I will speaking. If we talk about the present education system, we all know that it only focuses on the rote learning, which does not test the critical thinking, the reasoning, the analytical skill of the student. But what do? We test simply the memory of the student. And it is absolutely marks focused. Rote learning, this is a vicious loop in which the student is asked to frame certain contents. Then he appears in the exam, get good marks, but then he is forced to lost his memory about that contents. And again, he has to cram the content of the next semester, putting in the memory, getting out of it, putting in the memory, getting out of it. This is going on in the entire system, on account of which the critical thinking, the awareness, the reasoning, the understanding, the analytical skills of the students have lost somewhere. And the position is like this. The policeman is said to a child, you cannot join the army, you are only infant. Policeman is right. But the extent of rote learning and framing is that the child is saying, if it is like that, I will join the infantry. Height of literacy in Kerala. The policeman is asking, what is matter? The person is replying, matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. You must be thinking why I have included these cartoons here. This indicates that the extent of framing, the rote learning has crossed all the limits. The grandfather is saying to the infant or the small child, say dada. But you know, extent to which the younger children, the small children are using the mobile, they don't know dada, they know only data. So if you ask them to say dada, they will say data. And this is the situation in our country, which to certain extent, it has been addressed in the national education policy, that a small child is looking at the newspaper, All India Lower KG entrance exam. First list will be out today morning. This is the extent of and the situation of admissions in schools in our country. And nobody is running after the concepts. Everybody is running after the marks. And in our country today, it is absolutely mark-centric approach and package-centric approach. You can see the door of a person who say, I will teach you concept of physics. I have included physics here since I myself is student of physics. Nobody is ready to go to his door. But if a teacher is saying, I will teach you how to get 90 plus in physics, there is a huge crowd in front of his door, which clearly indicates that the focus is not on learning the concept, learning the analytical skills, critical skills, reasoning, but it is only on marks. APJ Abdul Kalam, he rightly said, sometimes it is better to bunk a class and enjoy with friends, because today when I look back, marks never make me laugh, but memories do. Someone has rightly said, if you will part of the crowd, भीड़ का हिस्सा बनोगे तो भेड़ बन जाओगे. भीड़ का हिस्सा बनने से अच्छा है भीड़ होने का कारण बनो. Be the reason so that the crowd is around you. Just raise your status, just increase your caliber to the extent that the people are coming to you. Don't be the part of the crowd. And as far as your feeling is concerned, convert the feeling of I to we or me to we. And everybody knows if in illness, I is replaced by we, then it becomes wellness. And national education policy is also talking about caring, sharing, and handholding, cooperation, coordination, and collaboration. Definitely competition also, but competition has to be healthy competition. We should not hide our qualities, and institutions should not be an island of excellence. If you have certain good things in your institution, you should share with the neighboring institution with a clear heart and open mind. But as of now, the system in our country, the education system is factory model of education. Most of you will agree with me, in which the student is considered as a raw material, as in industry, and they are subjected to a standard process, that is unidirectional flow of knowledge, chalk and talk system in most of the institutions. And finally, like the product comes in the industry, the student graduates from our institutions, but you all know, we all know that he is not holistically developed. Though he can have domain knowledge, his IQ intelligent quotient may be very high, but as far as when the other quotients come into picture, he is lagging there. That's why he lags behind when he enters into real life. And this is the situation, dear friends. If you see, when the child enters into the school, his face is laughing, concave. But as he progresses from school to college to university, or from lower education to middle, secondary, and higher education, the face changes from concave to convex, and the stress and the anxiety can be clearly seen when the child is grown up and he graduates from our university or college. And this is the real status, I tell you, that I taught Stripe how to whistle, the teacher is saying, and the owner is there, and the child or the puppy is there. I don't hear him whistling, the owner is saying. Then the teacher is saying, I said I taught him. I did not say he learned it. Some of you may be laughing on this, but this is the real story, that the teacher thinks that if I have taught in the class, my duty is over. Is there any provision in the existing curriculum that there is a assessment of the student, whether he has really learned it, what we have taught or not? And if is there any provision in the mind of the teacher that if the student cannot learn the way I teach, and can I teach the way the student can learn? And we must know that teaching is not a profession, because when we consider it as a profession, the materialistic approach comes into play. And when we take it as a passion, having faith, values, concern, emotion, and respect, then the situation is different. I have two pictures, 1969. The student got less marks. The parents goes to the principal or the teacher, and the principal and parents are asking the student, explain these bad grades. And now the situation has drastically changed. Today, if the student gets less marks, the parents along with the student, they are asking the principal or the teacher, explain why these bad grades are there. So we have to be very, very careful, because since the situation is changing very, very fast. Why this NEP 2020 came? What was the reason? Most of us know it. Rote learning is prevalent in the entire system. The approach is mark-centric and package-centric, more focus on domain knowledge and not on 21st century skills and values and strong will. Focus only on IQ. Friends, this is very, very important. We only focus on intelligent quotient, but not on physical quotient, psychological quotient, spiritual quotient, moral quotient, emotional quotient, entrepreneurial quotient, and environment quotient. If we focus on all these quotients, then I can say that the student who comes to the school or the college, he will be holistically developed. And apart from all these quotients, there is one more quotient which we know as ignorance quotient. And ignorance quotient is what you know divided by what you don't know. And if you want to keep it constant, it will just motivate you. It will inspire you to learn and more. The more you learn, you will think that more I don't learn. So to make it constant, your quest to learn more and more will never come to an end. And people say that teacher is always a student, and there has to be self-directed lifelong learning in a teacher. Whenever a teacher say, I am the master, and he or she stops learning new things, he is obsolete. Lack of social awareness, creativity, commitment, character, communication, reliability, innovation, imagination, knowledge. Absolute focus on a degree, UG or PG. But friends, you all know, I know, you know, everybody knows that these degrees are acting as passports, but they are not able to get visa. That is, neither they are able to start their own ventures or they are able to get employment. So this is a very, very big question against the teachers, against the promoters, against the policymakers, and we have to think about it. Friends, we teach, but do they learn? Do we really think on it? We are teaching, are they really learning? Or is our teaching only labor without delivery? If you go to educational institutions, and even if you go to the society, there are cynical sounding questions and sometimes heard in educational discussions. Consider the following kind of survey findings. 7th standard students cannot read a 4th standard text. It is well quoted and it is there in the reports. Numerical skills are poor in school children. Citation index of Indian research shows poor entries. 60% of colleges are below B+ during NEC assessment and accreditation. You must be knowing 75% engineers are unemployable. No Indian university in the first 200 world rankings for the last several years. And even in this year, I will discuss in one slide because the world ranking has been published. Teacher quality is deplorable. 80% of science research has no social relevance. So these are some of the annual findings over the last several years. Though we had once upon a time, we claim with great honor that we had Nalanda, Takshila, world-class centers. Okay, we should claim, but what is the present situation and how this situation deteriorated to this situation that the cynical soundings are there in the environment that we have to think of. A World Development Report states that most Asian developing countries are victims of triple crisis, and this does not mean that the advanced countries are free from these issues, but definitely we are suffering from this. There is acute crisis of outcomes, there is crisis of quality, and there is crisis of values. And we as teachers, we as educators, we as educated persons, what we claim, we have to think on all these issues. I was talking about this, which are the top 10 universities according to the World University Ranking 2023. So the University of Oxford has topped the Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2023, which included 1,799 universities across 14 countries, and we do not stand anywhere. And QS Asia University Ranking 2023 has also been declared. And in this, only 7 universities of India. When I talk about the Asian universities, they are included in the top 100 universities, and they are IIT Delhi at number 46, IIC Bangalore at number 52, and then IIT Madras at number 53, IIT Kanpur 66, IIT Delhi, then IIT Kharagpur, then IIT Roorkee 114, and Delhi University 85th, JNU 119. So these are some of the premier institutes in our country which have found place in first 100 in the Asian university rankings. So I discussed with you the various challenges which are there in front of higher education system, and there is a strong need to address these challenges uniquely. Now the choice is ours. The word is the same, bhag lo ya bhag lo. We have 2 solutions for every problem. Either you run away or participate. And I think everybody amongst us will say that why should we run away? We have this social and moral responsibility, and we will take part. We will not run away. And for that, you have to build an attitude. Now there are 2 options. Either the principal or the authorities presses you from outside to do something, or there is an inspiration from outside. So my personal thinking is that you have to build an attitude from inside. And I have shown this picture that if an egg is broken by an outside force, a life ends. And if an egg breaks from within, life begins. So great things always begin from within, friends. So that attitude, that aptitude, that has to build in from within, and everybody has to look forward in this direction. And we have to change our style. Hard work or smart work. You see this figure. In the classes, we tell the story thirsty crow. The crow will come, he will pick the pebbles, put in the pitcher, the water will come up, and then he will drink the water. And no, you need not to do that. Now the modern crow, he will just buy a straw from the market, put it in the pitcher and drink water and run away. That means you need not to work hard. You need to work smart. That is very, very important. And somebody has rightly said that the successful people do not do different things, but they do it differently. Where is the problem and how did this transition take place? Earlier, if you remember, on the 2 pillars of the entrance gate of the institution, it was written, come to learn, go to serve, or come to learn, go to return. To whom to return? Return to the society. Because the money which you use, the air which you breathe, the food you take in, this is all from the society. That is the loan of the society on you as a student when you study in educational institutions. To come to learn, go to serve. But in this materialistic world, when this person sitting in between, you must be recognizing him. He is nobody else than the Lord Macaulay. When that education policy, when he went to England, British Parliament, he was addressing in 1835. He said that the education system in India is so strong. I traveled from north to south, east to west. I did not find any beggar. And unless we break down the education system of India, we cannot think of ruling the state. Then that Lord Macaulay, he developed such an education system on account of which till today we are suffering. And there was a transition, come to learn, go to earn, not go to serve, go to earn. And this led to rote learning, mark-centric approach, and package-centric approach. And when this approach became dominant, what happens? The Bloom's taxonomy, which includes 6 levels of learning, starting from remembering to understanding to applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating, it was lost somewhere. And I think we end up with first level and the second level and maximum up to 3rd level. But this analysis, evaluation, and creation is missing somewhere. And friends, if you go through a book written by Ban Bhatt, and the title of the book is Kadambari, he talks about 64 arts and 16 subjects. at a time they were taught in our earlier educational systems, which include vocational curriculum, engineering, medical, mathematics, science, and other vocational subjects. When this type of system was there in earlier times, when you can even think that there were the lack of facilities, but still the holistic development of students was being made. So what is the reason that we have failed to enhance that system, rather that system deteriorated significantly? And all this is a wake-up call for regulatory bodies, policymakers, domain experts, multilateral agencies, opinion makers, industry experts, academic leaders, and teachers. And that's why, if you look, there are few buzzwords in the academic arena these days: quality, skill, values, entrepreneurial mindset, generation gap, and their needs, pathways, disruptive technology, self-directed learning, out-of-the-box thinking, ecosystem, artificial intelligence, machine language, Amazon Web Services, cloud, pandemic-induced online teaching, and finally, to make India self-reliant, Atmanirbhar. Friends, we say that this is only because of this NEP 2020 has come up. No, I don't agree with you. It reminds me of the words of Swami Vivekananda long back. He said, what he said about the education, he rightly said that education, we want the education by which character is formed, strength of mind is increased, the intellect is expanded, and by which one can stand on one's own feet. And when one can stand on one's own feet, he is self-reliant. वो आत्मनिर्भर है. And this is what exactly the NEP 2020 is advocating for. So as far as the content of the NEP are concerned, these were advocated earlier also by the social reformers. But I think we did not pay heed to their sayings. And now the NEP 2020 has come and it is being discussed thoroughly pan-India, and I am very positive, and I think that something positive will come out after the discussions and the implementation in various HEIs. So what are the issues faced by the higher education system these days? There is a strong need to increase gross enrollment ratio. Quality issues are there, fragmentation of domain areas, multiple regulatory agencies and governance issues. UGC is there, AICT is there, NCT is there, and then medical council is there, and so many other multiple regulatory agencies are there. Lack of holistic and multidisciplinary education, including skills, large affiliating system, bringing focus on research, lack of flexibility in choice of courses, pedagogy, bring focus on Indian knowledge system. Everybody is talking about Indian knowledge system. So Indian knowledge system is a very strong knowledge system which used to prevail in our country in the olden times also, where there was a relation, there was a personal relation between the guru and Sish. Now it has been changed from the teacher and the student. But when it comes back to guru and Sish, you are not only a teacher, you are a mentor, you are a coach, you are a guide, you are a philosopher, and you see your own daughters and sons in the students who are sitting in your classes. And if there is that type of rapport is there among the students and the teacher, then no one can stop the students from making their own development. These are the core values which are expected in the students: honesty and integrity, equality, synergy with teamwork. Teamwork is very, very important. And social responsibility, mutual respect, ethics, and commitment. And the targets are good governance, curricular aspects and teaching learning, infrastructure development, learning resources, research, innovation, extension, faculty and staff empowerment studies, very, very important. Financial management and resource mobilization, alumni engagements and interactions, effective role of internal quality assurance or internal quality assurance cell, and gender equality. These are the targets of the institutions. And to have holistic development of the students, we have to have charter of graduate attributes for students. They may include the personal attributes, they may include the intellectual attributes, the professional attributes, and the social and cultural attributes to make a student a holistically developed human being. And as I told you, ecosystem is very, very important. Then ambience in the institution about the NEP 2020 and beyond. We need to focus on strength of the universities and colleges to achieve the objectives of the state. And the third is the sensitization is very, very important. Because, you know, there had been education policies, commissions, and plan of actions earlier also. But maybe because we could not sensitize the teachers, we could not sensitize the society, we could not sensitize the stakeholders about the expectations and outcomes in those earlier policies and commissions. So I think they were lost in the air and the desired outcomes were not attained. But you see these three pictures. At the top, a student is standing at the top of his roof in the light given by the street light. So because he has the, he is sensitized and he has a vision and he has a goal in front of him. So he is just using the resources whichever are available to him. The mountain man Manji, you must have seen this picture. He could cut the mountain and make a path. And this Dr. Rajendra Singh, Waterman of India. If these single persons can do wonders, then why our team in higher education institutions cannot implement the National Education Policy 2020 and bring the required changes in the education system. Now, friends, there are two things. One is the material knowledge, which the student gets from academics, the intelligent quotient or the bookish knowledge. And another is the spiritual knowledge, which is very, very necessary to make the holistic development of our students. Now, we are giving material knowledge, which is through bookish knowledge and all that. This may give you great lifestyle. It pays you, I agree, but can do nothing to your inner systems besides huge maintenance cost. But if there is spiritual knowledge also, it will give you great life, truth and simplicity. It is self-maintained and sustainable without any cost. The material knowledge may give you quantity. You have many bungalows, you have many cars, you have a lot of money, this and that. Quantity is there, but you are stressed, depressed, oppressed, but still well-dressed. But if it is adorned with the spiritual knowledge, you have quality in place of quantity. You want to prove to the world, but in spiritual knowledge, you want to improve. You want to go through life. That is, starts with a bottle of milk, then Coca-Cola, maybe wine or beer, and then it ends with a bottle of blood or glucose. But if it is a spiritual knowledge, you grow through life. And this is a wonderful story, tycoon to butterfly. This is really how the life grows. And lastly, material knowledge, simply information we are giving to the students. This is very important, friends. What we are doing these days, we are simply passing on information, collecting it from the internet, open educational resources or from books, and just giving it to the students. Then where is the assimilation part? And what is assimilation? You have to put the flavor of your knowledge, your experience, which you have accrued over the years. And when you mix that flavor with the information which you get from the internet or from the books, then the content of your presentation becomes very, very interesting. And then the students really love to attend your classes. So just don't have the information, have the transformation. So my personal belief is that if the bookish knowledge, the material knowledge or the academics, it is adorned with or add-on with the spiritual knowledge in educational institutions, then you can say that amazing things can occur, happen, and the students can holistically be developed. Now, these were the challenges and these were some of the remedies. Now, how this evaluation of this education policy has taken place, you must know that University Education Commission 4849, then 5253 Secondary Education Commission, then Education Commission 6466 under Dr. D.S. Kothari. Here, I would like to say one thing, that if you read the preamble of this Kothari Commission, the first sentence is the destiny of India is being shaped in our classrooms. Just see, friends, the destiny of India is being shaped in our classrooms. The responsibility which was given to the teachers, because classrooms are not these boundaries or the blackboard or the benches or the chair and table. The classrooms are the human capital, the human resource, that is the teacher and the students. The responsibility was given the teachers, but now we have to introspect and we have to think that could we do it? Definitely there is a big question mark. Then National Policy on Education came, constitutional amendment, Then National Policy on Education 1986. It did so many things. And then there was a program of action 1992. But when I mix these two, 1986 and 1992, there were certain bottlenecks in the system. And in order to address those bottlenecks and sustain quality in higher educational institutions, this National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC Bengaluru, was established as an autonomous body. And it started its assessment and accreditation in 1994. And till now, that is in practice, and the institutions are being assessed and accredited. But let's be very true with you, the number of institutions which are coming forward for A&A is very, very less. So we should come forward, because assessment and accreditation, we should not worry about the grade. Basically, when you are assessed and accredited, your perception of the public is changed, and it paves the path for improvement. Then TSR Subramaniam Committee, and finally the Dr. K. Kasturirangan Committee report, which was submitted to the government on 31st May 2019, and it has been already launched in the country on 29 July 2020. Friends, these are the two documents. The title page I'm showing you. It is in English 65 pages, and in Hindi it is 107 pages. Friends, it is not less than Bhagavad Gita. I will say you, please keep one copy of each on your table and read it whenever you find time. The more you read it, more you get it, more you are sensitized, and then you can be an instrumental in implementing some of the aspects of national education policy in your own higher education institutions. But my appeal and submission to all of my esteemed colleagues who are joining this FDP, that please go through these documents on regular basis. So the unveiling of NEP 2020 is a momentous occasion in our education history, since it is the first in 21st century after 34 years. What are the foundational pillars of NEP? Access, affordability, equity, quality, and accountability. People interchangeably use this word equity and equality, and they are quite different. In this figure, it can be made clear to you that when we say equality, equality means the same facility is provided to all, irrespective of their needs. There is one man with less height, one man is more height. If we provide them stool with the same height, we are not giving the relief to the needy person as per his needs. But if we adjust the size of the stool, the height of the stool in a way that the looking level of the ground or the match is same for three persons, that is called equity. Means the facility which is being provided to the person is as per his or her needs. So this is also one of the component of foundational pillars of NEP. And the purpose of education is not only to transfer the information from the internet or from the books to the students, but the purpose of education is to educate, to encourage, to enlighten, to empower, and to make our students employable. And we have to be very, very careful about all these components. And friends, education not for living. Education is not for employment. Education is that you have to think and you have to explore your inner feelings, inner instinct. And then you will really feel that education is not for living, but education is for life. And if you work on all these parameters, then the requirement, what is that? The innovative and critical thinking, problem solving and awareness, understanding, analytical skills, effective communication, language skills, decent social interaction, spirit of helping, responsible citizenship, accountability, uprightness, environmental enrichment, sustainability, self-directed learning, holistic development, experimental research, experiential learning, think globally, act locally, and be vocal for local. All these qualities can be implanted, can be transferred, can be developed, can be evolved in our students. So in this particular slide, what changes are expected as per the recommendations of NEP 2020? The first is from output to outcome. Till now, our focus is on output, but now it is focusing on outcome, and from quantity to quality. and from academic development to holistic development, wherein the student has the knowledge, student has the skill, student has capacity and competence. Friends, you all know that it is a knowledge-driven economy where skill has become currency. When it is a knowledge-driven economy and skill has become currency, that's why the NEP is focusing on vocational education. The component, at least 60% of the component should be vocational education. But again, there is a question that skill can be there, but if there is no will, how can you develop skill in the student? So first, we have to prepare them. We have to inculcate the right kind of will among the students so that the skill which we want them to acquire can be transferred to the students. And for this, the role of education, the educators, means the teachers, leaders, and administrators and system is very, very important. So now the National Education Policy has already been launched in the country. With the advent of NEP 2020, new era of education with strong foundation on rich Indian art, culture, civilization, sacraments, heritage, and history, core values, and global standards is dawning in India. सूर्योदय हो रहा है इन चीजों का. It has seeds of a total paradigm shift of education in the country. The workplaces cannot remain untouched in the present environment where winds of change are blowing everywhere. And it calls for tuning our attitude towards aims and objectives and cultivate and understand that the quality assurance and quality systems in HEIs can pave the path for making a difference and ensuring outcome-based education. So it has dawned in the country, the winds of change are blowing, and it is calling for a change in attitude, but choice is yours. Because someone has rightly said, when the winds of change blow, some find shelters and some find windmills. Choice is yours as academic leaders. You want to make windmills, you want to encash the potential, and you want to grow the latent potential within the teachers, within yourself, and within the students, or simply you want to find shelters. Leave it to you, choice is yours. And the most important is the NEP 2020, its success depends on its effective implementation. Otherwise, it will just remain as a vision document. Now, who bears the honors of its success? Who are the implementers? Answer, of course, the teachers. And if the answer is teachers, are they really prepared? If not, then it is our duty to equip them with the requisite skill so as to meet the expectations of NEP 2020. For that, this 3A and 3I model is very, very important. You have to adopt, adapt, and adapt the changes. Then if you will do it, then innovate, invent, and implement. And if you can do this, then definitely you can transform education and the determination to realization to actualization. Anubhuti se siddhi tak, you can do it. And for that, you have to make the implementation roadmap, which includes the perspective plan, the institutional development plan, strategic plan with defined timelines. And the existing education setup and the existing contents and curriculum, we have to change. We have to reorient education that strives towards a vibrant, prosperous, enlightened system, generating knowledge and new ideas so as to make it locally need-based, socially relevant, nationally important, and globally significant. This is very, very important. It was said by Vinoba Bhave also that a person has three main things in the body, that is the heart, the hand, and the head. I call it 3H model. In our heart, there are emotions. In our head, there is knowledge, prudence, decision-making, and ability. And in our hand, we have doings, courage, and service. If there is a proper coordination in the three, what emotions do you have? What decision your head is taking? And what your hand is doing? If there is a proper coordination, you can do wonders. If there is a soldier at the border, if there is a terrorist, he will shoot him. The terrorist will die and the soldier will get a medal. But on the other side, if there is a terrorist, he kills a civilian or soldier, the work is the same, using the same time of weapon, doing the same crime, murdering a person, but he will be hanged. That is the purpose is very, very important. Okay, what is the purpose of your doing? So we have to clearly understand the purpose of our doing. And if there is a proper coordination, either in the teachers, the head and hand, or in the students, then we can do wonders, and all the expectations of the NEP 2020, they can be realized in the time to come. Krishnamurti ji, when I have to stop in the first phase?
Sir, anytime, sir. Your
No,
choice.
you have to tell me.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So normally 7:50 to 8, or just you can give 8 to 8:10 or any 10 minutes
Okay.
breaks anytime, sir.
You tell me when you want me to take
Sir,
a
8 to 8:10 we can give the break, sir. 8 to 8:10.
8 to 8:10. Okay. Now,
Yes,
National Education Policy NEP 2020. Union Cabinet paved the way for transformative reform in school and higher education. Because when we talk of NEP 2020, we cannot talk in isolation. Because in fact, it starts from the school. Then it comes to higher education institution. So this policy is both for school and higher education system. And I told you that it has been launched on 29th July 2020. And the first step the government did was that they renamed Ministry of Human Resource Development as Ministry of Education. So friends, the intention of government is very, very clear that they mean it. By changing the name of MHRD to Ministry of Education, they gave a signal that they mean it and they will do it. And after the old national education policy, which was launched way back in 1986, I told you that this is the first education policy in this 21st century. And these are some of the major reforms in national education policy. Students now take a school examination, which was conducted by the appropriate authority in grades 3, 5, and 8. Board examination for 10th and 12th will be continued, but will be redesigned with an aim of holistic development. Parak, performance, assessment, review, and analysis of knowledge and holistic development. A new national assessment platform will be set up. Mathematical thinking and scientific temper coding will start from class 6. This is about schools. Vocational education will start in schools from 6th grade, which also includes internships. The 10+2 structure will be replaced by 5+3+3+4. And this is very clear that the student at the age of 3, he will come to school for 3 years. He will not be subjected to any test. He will develop his inherent skills in its own way. And then he will, after 3 years in the school, then he will pass the first and second, and then 3 years, third, fourth, and fifth, and then 3 years, 6, 7, and 8, and then in 4 years, 9, 10, 11th, and 12th. The new system will have 12 years of schooling and 3 years of preschooling, as I was telling. Till grade 5th, this policy will emphasize local language, regional language, mother tongue as the medium of instruction. Someone has rightly said that Matri, Bhumi, Matri Bhasa, or Ma, that is the mother. There is no alternate for that. So this is a very good and very encouraging step that up to 5th, a student, if learns in its own language, mother tongue or the regional language or the local language, then it will definitely help him in developing his inherent skills. This is very, very important and welcoming step. At school and higher education, Sanskrit will also be included at all levels because Sanskrit is the origin of all languages. As an option, literature of India and other classical languages will also be available. No student will be forced for any language. This is very good, that no forcing. And this is how the 10+2 system has changed to 5+3+3+4. You are seeing in this right-hand side that blocks that up to 3 years, no exam. The students will study in Anganwadi or preschool or Bhavatikas. Then in the next 3 years, 6 to 8, class 1 and 2. Then in next 3 years, class 3 to 5, then 6 to 8, and then 9 to 2. This way, the student will progress in the school system. Higher education, if I talk about, higher education plays an important role in improving human well-being and developing India and through this NEP. Higher education will see flexibility in subjects. This is very important. Let me tell you that whatever problems with the prevailing education system in different states was, and the people used to discuss, they all were taken up, and the people who were at the back of this preparing the documents and the person who were the members of the committee, they thoroughly discussed on all those issues. And people call it as a consultative policy because the consultations and suggestions were taken even at taluka level and gram level, and they were sent to the respective authorities and they were incorporated. And I'm happy to share with you that all those questions or concerns which were there, that you have to do graduation within 6 years. If the student is not able to do in 6 years, all the 6 years will go waste and he will get nothing. You have to do BSc with physics, chemistry, and math. You don't have any option to take any other subject. And if you are poor in one of the subjects, then you cannot do your BSc. If you do your first year, you don't get anything. If you do your second year, you don't get anything. But all such issues have been addressed in this policy, and the labor of the student, the hard work of the student does not go waste. That's why there is a multiple entry and exit systems, and there will be no streams like arts, science, and commerce. It will only be a UG degree. 3 years and 4 years will multiple exit and options. If you study for 1 year, pass the required number of credits, you will get the diploma, a certificate, then 2 years advanced diploma, 3 years degree, and 4 years degree with research. And to promote research, National Research Foundation has also been recommended in this ABC, a beautiful thing. Academic Bank of Credit will be created in all the higher education institutions, in which your academic credits will be digitally transferred and they can subsequently be redeemed in the form of a degree. E-learning is being focused. Then the GDP 6%, it will be increased from 1.7 to 6. By the end of 2040, they aim that all HEIs will become multidisciplinary institutions, and each of them will have 300 or more students. There is a question in front of this, whether every institution will have 3,000 students, or if there are institutions in nearby, they will be interconnected, some cluster will be formed like that. At least one large multidisciplinary higher education institution should be built in or near every district by 2030. Aim to achieve 100% youth and adult literacy. National Testing Agency, it has already started its job, though there are certain things which need to be addressed in the time to come. And this time the HEIs have, this NTA has conducted the Common University Test and Entrance Test Q, and it has been successful more or less, and the students have been admitted to various colleges through on the basis of score they got in this exam. College affiliation under NEP 2020, there is a provision to phase out affiliation. There will be no affiliated colleges. There will be only degree granting institutions. B.Ed, instead of 2 years, it will be of 4 years. There will be financial aid to students, and there will be no hard separation of streams under NEP 2020. NCERT will prepare syllabi and textbook as per the National Curriculum Framework. SCRTs, the State Council for Education, Research and Training, may edit those books according to their own requirement, rewrite and supplement. Physical education will be incorporated strongly throughout their curriculum with a consideration that what is interesting and safe at each stage. Also, there is no hard separation between vocational and academic stream. And there is one more change, that there will be no co-curricular or extracurricular activities, because every activity which a student does or teacher organized in the institution is a part of the curriculum. And it is part of it is not co-curricular or extracurricular. And the focus or emphasis is not on evaluation only, it is on assessment also. In my next slide, I will also share with you what is the difference between assessment and evaluation. Maybe here we can stop, because this is already 8 o'clock, and after 10 minutes, we will meet again. Is it okay, Krishnamurti ji?
Yes, Professor. Yes, Professor.
Okay, we can have a break of 10 minutes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dear participants, please be online. Just you can join after 10 minutes. Thank you.
Is it visible, Dr. Saab? Is it visible, Krishnamurti ji?
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir.
Okay. And it is very encouraging. This statement was given by the then Human Resource Development Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank on September 22, 2019 during the Central Advisory Board of Education CAB meeting. The gross enrollment ratio in higher education increased from 25.8% in 2017-18 to 26.3%. Though it was a slight increase, but it happened. While in absolute terms, the enrollment increases from 3.66 crore to 3.74 crores. And there was an increase in the gross enrollment ratio for all, including the general category and the reserve categories. Now, light but tight regulatory framework. Now, as you know, we have different type of regulatory agencies, but this National Education Policy 2020 has recommended for one regulatory body, that is Higher Education Commission of India, HECI. The HECI, or the Higher Education Commission of India, is the sole governing body for all higher education institutions except medical and legal education. This will dissolve the NEC, UGC, and AICT, and the committee has already been formulated to work on the modalities. This one commission and all these agencies, NEC for assessment and accreditation, UGC, doing all the job, making out the formality policies, releasing the fund, developing model curriculum, all that. And this AICT, which is governing the technical education, all these agencies will be merged under one, that is HECI, Higher Education Commission of India, with 4 verticals. The first is the National Higher Education Regulatory Council that will take care of the training of education departments. HECI, the National Accreditation Council of India, NEC. This will be the second vertical, which will replace existing NEC. That is, under NAC, there will be multiple accreditation bodies. NEC will also be one of the accrediting bodies. The third is the HEGC, Higher Education Grants Council. It will take over the activities of the UGC by implementing transparency as the core principle. And the fourth one is the General Education Council, meant to enhance the student learning outcomes by defining the ideal education process. So instead of a separate UGC, AICT, NCTE, and NEC and all that, there will be one regulatory body, HECI, with 4 verticals as recommended in National Education Policy. And our Honorable the then Minister also talked about the transparency and quality in research. And for that, the government has developed the plagiarism detection software PDS Shodh Siddhi. It has been launched and it is in place. This service is being implemented by InflibNet, an inter-university center of UGC. This will significantly help to improve the quality of research, the transparency, as well as the quality. And initially, this facility was extended to the universities and institutions, central universities, central funded technical institutions, state public universities, deemed universities, private universities, and institutions of national importance. Extensive use of technology for learning and education planning, because you know this is the era of information and communication, and of course the technology. So how to use the technology extensive, and we have proved it in Corona period. When the Corona came, everything was standstill. But how to educate our students? Then only we use the technology, because that was a touch me not environment. You cannot talk to each other, you cannot touch each other, you have to maintain a social distancing. And for that, the only way was to use the technology, and everybody used that technology. And various platforms have been developed by the government, like Diksha. Then there is the MOOCs, then open and distant learning is there, National Education Technology Forum is there. And there are other platforms which can be used. The technology can be used for educating our children. This is very, very important. There is unemployment in the country. And when there is employment, there is a generation of wealth. And Honorable Prime Minister has already declared that India will be a $10 trillion economy by 2030. For that, what we have to think? We have to think that what we do when our student graduates or post-graduate, then he starts thinking of earning. And which is, I personally believe that it is very, very late. Why can't they start and earning early as in the other countries? They should start early. Do not be a job seeker, be a job provider. Think new, think big, think out of the box. And the name of Swami Ramdev is a biggest name to justify this statement, that a simple sadhu or guru or yogacharya, he has become a multi-millionaire just by thinking out of the box. Technology friendly we have to be. And if we do all this, then 0% BPL in India, which free from unemployment. And there are certain glaring examples where the people had started earning at early age. Warren Buffett at the age of 11, Steve Jobs at the age of 17, Jamsetji Tata 19 years, Mark Zuckerberg 17 years, Ritesh Agrawal, founder of Oyo, at 17 years, Sundar Pichai, I never bored with tradition, I go with innovation, he says. And in Europe, 72% students earn for their livelihood. And a famous saying by a singer from Punjab, Gurdas Maan, this is a very, very important line. I like it. Roti hakdi khaiye ji chahe boot palisha ki. You have to be very, very honest by earning your bread and butter. And no work is a small work, and it doesn't make you feel belittle. There should be grace in doing every type of work which you get to earn your livelihood. And this feeling should come in the minds of students. Whenever there is a fear, so fear means either you face everything and rise or forget everything and run. The choice is again your. And it is likely said that fear fears from fearless. So you have to be fearless. We have to be fearless. Then the fear will fear from us. And the skill means the scientific knowledge, intellect, learning, and leadership. And if you have skill, it will kill your ignorance. And kills means knowledge induced learning levels and strength. And continuously you have to upskill to upscale education, employability, and employment that we should ensure. And we should also ensure that instead of 2 levels in the present education system, remembering and understanding, we should teach our students to the level that all the 6 levels, starting from remembering to creation, they are there among the students. They have the analytical skill, they have the critical thinking, they have the reasoning, and so that they can do something new. And it is our prime duty to create higher order thinking skills as well as the lower order thinking skills among our students. This is the recommendation in NEP 2020 also. And we have to switch over from the traditional chalk and talk method, and also from the distance learning. Though the NEP 2020 is recommended on online distance learning, it has been recommended, and some of the institutes of repute, they have started programs through distance learning, like the BITS Plani has also started BTech through distance. But now we have to focus on blended learning. I personally believe that the physical mode of learning, that is chalk and talk, will not work, and the only using ICT will not work. We have to make a blend, because the personal interpersonal interaction between the teacher and the student is also very, very essential for the holistic development. And for experiential learning, we have to be give practicals, internship, experimentation, training, and simulated learning to the students. And experimentation can be lab-based and field-based. Sometimes teachers ask, what practicals can be there? What experiments can be there in liberal arts and humanities? Yeah, it can be there. Because when the students go to the field, when the students go to the villages, when the students go to the slum, they work over there, and though the working over there is just like living labs. They have to understand the environment. They have to create the right kind of environment so that the people who are working over there or living in those particular areas can also progress. I was talking about this assessment and evaluation. If you read the document, it focuses on CIA instead of CIE. And CIA is comprehensive internal assessment, and CIE is continuous internal evaluation. So this is the basic difference. When you assess something, your purpose is to increase the quality. You see, this man is watering a small plant having only 1 flower. And when you evaluate, you judge the quality. He's saying that too short and not enough leaves. So you need not to find the defects. You have to find the strength of the student. You have to find the strength of the institution. And of course, the weakness, opportunities, and challenges also. And this is what happens during the next process of assessment and accreditation. They just find your strength, they recommend something so that you can further improve upon. A perception for an evaluation system. This has been recently launched by the government. What should student know and be able to do by the end of the course? This is the duty of the teacher to know. That is what we call as course outcome. So we have to ensure that the students should learn that course outcome. What will you do to get them there? And how will you know if they get there? So these all are the responsibilities of the teachers. And for that, teacher has to develop sustainable solutions, creating and innovating, applying, analyzing, and evaluating, understanding, and remembering. All those 6 levels of learning. So outcome is very, very important. Competency is very, very important. The performance indicator. And finally, identify assessment type, frequency of application, and questions, that is in the form of formative assessment. So there are 3-4 types of assessment. You should know that the diagnostic assessment at the time of very entry of the student in the institution. That, and then the formative assessment, which can be done daily or weekly, class assignment, home assignment, case studies, or weekly assignments or quiz tests. Then interim, quarterly you can do by quiz and tests and quiz and tests. And then finally at the semester end, that is called the summative assessment, and for which the student has to appear in the long test. And the student has to have the soft skill development, seminar and group discussions, reading, analyzing, interpretation, presentation, self-study, seminars and group discussions, work-based training, projects, solving exercises, and of course the tutorials. UGC has already recommended the online degree, and recently I saw in the newspaper that BITS Plani has also started the online degree in computer science. Manipal University has already been permitted, Global University, OP Jindal University, Chandigarh University, they have already been permitted by UGC, but we have to do it with utmost care. We should not compromise with the quality. And the most important is the sustainable development goal. The SDGs were set up in 2015 by the United Nations General Assembly and are intended to be achieved by 2030. And the higher education institutions have a great role to play, and particularly the science, unless it is useful for the society and it is sustainable, it is of no use. So science for society and sustainability. And out of these 17 goals, the quality education at number 4, gender equality at number 5, clean water 6, affordable and clean energy 7, and industry, innovation and infrastructure 9. These are some of the sustainable development goals which are directly, more or less directly related to higher education institutions, and that we have to look forward. This I have written that add 1 degree and make it 212 degree Fahrenheit or 100 degree. You must be thinking why I have put it. This is simply add 1 degree. That is, if you know that the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius, 99 degree nothing. But if you add 1 degree, you make it 100. Steam is there. Steam can run the turbine that can generate electricity. And that is what every teacher, every student has to done, that please add 1 degree, make it 99 to 100. And for that, you have to continuously learn. Your quest for learning should never end. There has to be self-directed learning. And for that, you have to change your mindset. You have to change your thinking process, because someone has rightly said, ख्यालातों के बदलने से भी निकलता है नया दिन, सिर्फ सूरज के चमकने से ही सवेरा नहीं होता. So we have to change our mindset. That is very, very important. And we have to always keep in your mind that skilling, upskilling, and reskilling is very, very important. And Alvin Toffler has rightly said that the illiterate of 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, क्योंकि वो तो सब technology से available है, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And that is very, very important, and that is very relevant for teachers as well as for the student. Homi Jahangir Baba, you all know. You have to do with all your involvement. पूरी शिद्दत के साथ आप जब काम करेंगे, only then you can achieve the goal. And teachers are as agent of change and career anchors, everybody says, and we have to be very, very careful in discharging our duties in our own institutions. And this is the success mantra. Mind, your intellect, your reflection, and your sacraments, they are very, very important. So you have to stay creative. Always think out of the box, and you have to think from your mind. And your mind is nothing but the CPU of human system. And you have to increase the mind power. And how you can increase the mind power? You can increasing the mind power is like the charging the battery. And this can be only by way of physical exercises and yoga and meditation. And if you want to stay creative, then you have to have visualization, affirmation, actualization, concentration, contemplation, and reflection. This is very, very important. And for building your knowledge, physical training, that is the domain knowledge, grow your outlook and mindset by technical training, skill, and finally aptitude and positive attitude. Mental training is required, cosmic correction, and all those emotional, spiritual, moral, entrepreneurial, and environment quotient. So if you are staying creative, you are building your knowledge, you are growing your outlook and mindset, your aptitude, and you have positive attitude, then you can do wonders. Never doubt yourself. Success is not final and failure is not a fact. It is the courage to continue that counts, and that is very, very important. And someone has rightly said, if you are planning for 1 year, grow rice. If you are planning for 10 years, grow trees. And if you are planning for 100 years, educate your children. So the educating our children, that is our prime duty, to see that whether a children who is getting education in your institution is really educated. If he is really educated, it will reflect in his behavior. It will reflect in his communication. It will reflect at his workplace. And this way we can say that his all round development is there. And this is a state of affair, friends. At present, maybe after the implementation of NEP 20, which has already been started, the situation may change. In the traditional classrooms, we are simply unidirectional flow is there. And we are covering the syllabus just like covering some objects with a piece of cloth. Universities are simply affiliating university, just recommending the contents of the syllabus without discussing with the stakeholders, and simply it is passed on to the institutions. We simply teach the students. Examination hall, simply the same pattern, rote learning. And the directors is also not very serious. They think that their purpose is only to funding the higher education institution. But we have to work in a team. We have to work in a team, and we have to take collegial and collective decisions for the welfare of the student community. And education is just not providing the degree. It is not the learning of facts, but it is the training of mind to think. And this is very, very important. And there are various types of institutions in our country. They have their own limitations, complexities are there, diversities are there, financial constraints are there, locational disadvantages there. But you see this picture, this will encourage you. Mindset is very, very important. If you want to implement and you want the desired outcomes of NEP 2020, mindset is very, very important. This is a laborer boy. He doesn't have the resources. He has collected the bricks and he has made his own throne. And he's sitting on that. See the confidence in the boy. So this approach we have to follow. See this. He's just honing his communication skills. परिस्थितियां जैसी भी हों, अपनी सोच बड़ी रखिए. Watch your thoughts, very, very important. They become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they have character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. So this is very, very important. What we think is very, very important. And we should always think positive, and we should always be optimistic. Success is the good fortune that comes from aspiration. आपका इच्छा होना बहुत जरूरी है. उसके लिए आपको आप में जज्बात होना, जुनून होना बहुत जरूरी है. Desperation. And then you have to have the perspiration. पसीना बहाना है आपको उसके लिए, और inspiration, आपको प्रेरणा भी होनी चाहिए. So if you have all these qualities, you have the aspiration, desperation, inspiration, and perspiration, success is bound to occur. And you have to constantly monitor on your decision, on your targets, on your goals, and on your scheme of things and strategies. Albert Einstein once said that a ship is always safe at shore, but that is not what it's built for. And I think that really resonates with us all in a way. It is to show that though we may always be safe when docked up and comfortable, it is not our purpose. This is very important. We don't want to change. There is an inertia. And whenever there is inertia, we don't want to change. And it is inherent. But as Albert Einstein says, ship is safe at the shore. But is it meant to remain at the shore? No, it has to go in the ocean. Likewise, we have to read the NEP document thoroughly, and just we have to sensitize ourselves. We have to sensitize our students. We have to sensitize the stakeholders so that we can work for the benefit of the community. We can work for the benefit of the humanity. There is very, very popular and interesting novel. I would request all my colleagues who are there in this faculty development program that they should go through this novel, Who Moved My Cheese, by Spencer Johnson. There is a group of 4. There are 2 people and 2 mice. Mice, they start changing with the changing times. The persons, they don't start changing with the changing times. And finally, they suffer. And the mice, it is a story that the mice who change with the time slowly, they could anticipate what changes are coming, and they change like that, they got the success. So friends, this is the time of change. We should understand, we should anticipate. I showed you in one of my slides that anticipate, adopt, adapt. So if we fail to anticipate, you know, there are credits now. If in my institution, I am not a good teacher, no student will enroll in my subject. He will enroll for that subject in an institution where the teacher is very, very good. Then I will just put one hand on the other hand, sitting idle in my institution. And I will have nothing to write in my ACR. The coming time is very, very challenging. Students opt for that course in my class. They register with me for that particular course. Otherwise, I will become obsolete. So I will make an appeal to all my friends who are on board for this ATAL FDP. Please read this, Who Moved My Cheese, by Spencer Johnson. There are other books also, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Franklin Covey. Very interesting. You should also read this. And the 7th habit is sharpen your saw. When we do not update our knowledge, when we do not run with the time, when we do not cater to the requirements of the students, we become blunt. Our knowledge becomes blunt. So just like sharpening the saw to get the maximum efficiency, we have to update ourselves. We have to constantly learn. Our desire to learn should never exhaust. And all the 7 habits are very, very important. For that you have to do. Values are very, very important. I have just mentioned the value. C.V. Raman IISc. Once upon a time, the candidates came, they were interviewed. Some of them were selected, some of them were rejected. But one of them, he was just wandering outside, and when the C.V. Raman was going to home, he saw him. Oh, gentlemen, why are you here still? We have not selected you. He said, sir, I am not here that you have not selected me, but your finance department or accounts department has paid 5 rupees more to me while just making the payment and finalizing the bills. He was stunned to hear his reaction. He said, you come next day. Next day when he come, Sir C.V. Raman told him that though you failed in physics, but you have succeeded in values. So I select you. One more post was created and he was selected, and later on the same gentleman, Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, you know all. So this is the value of values. So we have to inculcate values in ourselves, and we have to inculcate values in our students. This is very, very important, and these are some of the major outcomes. So NEP 2020, as I was discussing with you, there will be affiliation will be phased out, autonomy will be there. But how to implement this? Set up NEP cell. You should have, you may have IQAC in your institutions, but do you have the NEP cell? If you don't have, kindly create NEP cell in the institution, because the job of the NEP cell is different from the job of IQAC, that we should clearly understand. And form a cluster, caring, sharing, and holding, which is the institution which has some more facilities, good facilities, they should be shared with the surrounding institution. And the leverage of Vidya Varidhi, where there is a pool of senior people whose services can be taken for the quality sustenance and enhancement in our institution. And every institution should draft its institutional development plan, because unless you develop your institutional plan, how you will pave the path for development? Because someone has rightly said that those who want to move a mountain start by moving the pebbles. We have to take small steps. Only then we can take big steps. And someone has also said that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, that we all have to think. And these are the 7 habits which I was talking. Be proactive, begin with the end in mind. Then you will never defeat. Put first things first. Think win-win. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Synergize and sharpen the saw. These are some of the habits which we should develop in ourselves and in our students. So lastly, these are some of the outcomes of NEP 2020. Education not for living but for life. Universalization from ECCE to secondary education, attaining foundational learning and numeracy skills, bringing back 2 crore out of school children, teachers to be prepared for assessment reforms, inclusive and equitable education system. Though these target dates have been extended on account of this corona pandemic, board exams to test core concepts, every child will come out of school adept in at least one skill. Common standards of learning, holistically developed child with knowledge, skill, capacity, and competence. Quality is the first and foremost thing. Outcome-based education, self-reliant citizens in India. When citizens will be self-reliant, only then our country will be self-reliant. Change the existing academic system of India with the purpose of making it at par with the international standard of academics. So, teacher, what you have to do? This is the last sentence which I want to share with all my dear colleagues. In the climate and context of commercialization is there, communalization is there, and centralization is there. No one can deny. So you as a teacher, as a coach or counselor who create, conserve, and cater knowledge has to collaborate, coordinate, and cooperate, and converts a candidate or chela. Chela means the student from carbon to crystal. You all know when the carbon is under high pressure for years together, only then it is converted to diamond. So when you want to create, change your student from carbon to crystal, it calls for chiseling under coercion and conscientious coaching, completely and compulsorily crushing and curbing craving. Craving for carving is crucial, critical, and compelling to create caliber and characteristics like communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking for comprehensive development. So this we have to focus for the holistic development of our students, and to do it, आपको सबको मालूम है आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव चल रहा था और अब आजादी का अमृत काल चल रहा है. And to achieve our goals, what we have to do? We have to make big resolutions. Get rid of squad. दास्ता से निकलना है, slavery से. We should be proud of our heritage. There should be unity and harmony to be the best. सर्वश्रेष्ठ बनना है तो उसके लिए एकता और सामंजस्यता चाहिए. Sense of duty is very, very important. Sense of duty and sense of belongingness to the institution and to the students. Very, very important. And finally, leadership trust. You have to believe your leadership. Unless you have trust in your leadership, nothing can happen. So these are some of the resolutions we can say, and some of the, you can say we have to make a pledge about all these resolutions to get the desired results. So friends, lastly, I will say that in order to understand and implement the NEP 2020, we need to read it repeatedly, along with the white paper of NEC. NEC has also released a white paper because now NEC has also prepared the accreditation framework in tune with the NEP 2020. and plan phase-wise execution. एकदम नहीं हो सकता. It's a very, very big task. You cannot implement it in a single go. Slowly and gradually. We cannot hope to understand what 20 odd best brains, odd word I have put in knowingly, because they are not common brains. They are the best brains in the country, which have made this visionary document, NEP 2020. And someone has said that Sri Ram wanted to build a bridge to Lanka. His team under Sri Hanuman achieved the mammoth task. This is like rope in your own NEP 2020 cell to brainstorming. A teacher is a topiary artist. बहुत ही उत्तम दर्जे का, अव्वल दर्जे का कलाकार होता है, who shapes, cultivates, grows, illuminates minds. He is not a bonsai expert who stunts his own and his students' growth. No, even the teacher cannot think of stunting his own and his students' growth. So, friends, stretch the boundaries. Stretch the boundaries. And as said by Swami Vivekananda, also, I would like to request all my colleagues who are there in this ATAL FDP, awake, arise, keep renewing to upgrade performance. Sharpen the saw or get lost. Majority of us are awakened, but we are not arisen. So arising is very, very important, because unless you arise, you cannot tune yourself. You cannot tune your thinking. You cannot tune your mindset with the changing times, with the requirement of the National Education Policy 2020. So we have to awake. And if we are awakened, we have to arise. And finally, we have to keep renewing. And we have to sharpen our saw. This is my request and advice to you all. And as a teacher or as a leader, balance is key in life. I know as a principal of the college, sometimes I have to take decisions from heart, and sometimes I have to take decisions from mind. But if there is a proper coordination, as I showed you in one of my presentation slides also, that if there is a coordination where you want to use your mind, where you want to use your heart, then definitely the balance can be maintained and we can move on the path of success. Definitely, if there are any questions, I would love to reply to you all. And feedback, as Dr. Krishnamurthy was telling me, that there will be some feedback per forma and there will be some assessment and evaluation per forma. So I shared some of the things with him, and I think he will share that per forma in the group, and all of you will leave your feedback and respond or reply to some of the questions, maybe if he is flashing in the group. And finally, thank you very much for listening to me so patiently. And once again, I thank the authorities of the college and the convener of this program, Dr. Krishnamurthy, for providing me this opportunity to be there on board for one session in this program. And thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thanks a lot. Really a nice presentation. Dear participants, any queries, just you can post in the chat box, or you can just feel free to ask the doubt to the professor regarding new education policy. Okay, if there is no questions from the participants, just sir, I want to add some few words, sir. So really your talk gave us a clear insight about the NAC Council, that means National Accreditation Council, and how it's planning and what are the future councils like GEC and then HEGC. Really, we got a clear insight about the knowledge, and also we get a clear insight about the white paper and what are the contents of the white paper and how much time they take it to frame that white paper. And also just your speech gave a clear distinction between how NEP differs from IQAC, and really it will be a mind-blowing session for all the participants. And in future, we like to plan one full day session regarding the new education policy as a one-day program, sir.
Sure, my pleasure. No issue.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Dear participants, if there is no query, just we can close the sessions. At the outset, I like to thank the expert of the session for giving a wonderful lecture about new education policy and a clear insight about what are the contents and what's the background for framing the NEP and what will be the expected outcomes and how the student community will be benefited. And really, it's a mind-blowing session. So, on behalf of the management and on behalf of all the faculty members of Sri Ishwar College of Engineering, we thank Professor Krishan Kant for giving a wonderful lecture. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Dear participants, the feedback link and the question session will be posted in the group. Just you are requested to fill the form. Thank you.
So good evening, sir. Krishnakant, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, it was a wonderful lecture, sir, on about the national education policy. And I hope so all the participants would have been benefited with your wonderful lecture, sir, stating all the reforms in higher education.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I leave Dr. Krishnamurthy now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Dear participants, you will be having the week 1 assessment that will be posted in your WhatsApp group. You may please fill the assessment and send it immediately within 5 p.m. tomorrow. That is Sunday, 5 p.m. is the due date for your assessment. And before we close, you should have the official laboratory. Dr. Suresh,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. So I welcome Dr. Suresh, Professor and HOD, Department of Science and Humanities, Sri Ishwar College of Engineering, who is the chief guest to deliver the valedictory address. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, all. Before I start, profuse thanks to Professor Dr. Krishnakant sir, Principal, Agarwal PG College, Faridabad, for his engrossing session on national education policy reforms in higher education. Respected Chairman of our institution, respected Director, respected Principal Madam, Dean Research and Innovations, Dean Industry and International Relations, Dean Academics, heads of various departments, and all the valued participants. Warm greetings to all. Established in the year 2008, our institution has the vision to be recognized as a premier institution by grooming students into globally acknowledged engineering profession. Happy to note that we want to more completion of the 2-week blended FDP on radiation exposure and its impact on human health, sponsored by AI, Training and Learning Academy, and organized by the Department of Science and Technology. As we know, radiation is energy and it travels in the form of energy waves or high-speed force. Background radiation is all around us all the time. So our bodies are designed to deal with the low levels we are exposed to. But too much radiation can damage the face by UV and damage the brain. This can cause serious health problems, including cancer. Scientists have been studying the effects of radiation for 100 years, so we know quite a bit about how radiation interacts with living tissues and its effects on the body. Because we can measure radiation and because we can understand its health effects, we can work safely around it. 4,000 participants conduct this ATAL FTP. We are one among the 200 institutions across India to get selected to proceed with this FTP program. This blended FTP helps with the internship and interactive learning, which covers the online possibilities successfully realize this aim into So this facility really enhances practical knowledge on the health effects of radiation by a series of online lectures delivered by eminent academicians and domain experts. It is noteworthy to mention that this one-week online FTP went on successfully with the indispensable input given by the eminent research persons. Around 50 faculties as well as research scholars from different departments and institutions, notwithstanding the evening sessions, have actively participated in this activity from different parts of the world. The sincere and tireless efforts by the coordinator Dr. Krishnamurthy, Associate Professor, Department of Physics, co-coordinated Dr. Sangeeta and Dr. Selva Kumar, Associate Professor, Department of Physics of Research, is highly appreciated and our laudable congratulations to them. Enormous cooperation rendered by all the members of science and humanities at various stages of this activity made this function to proceed in a smooth manner. Hope all the participants have enjoyed the online sessions that were conducted during this week. We wish all the participants good luck and happy learning as they are essential people. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your wonderful presentation. Vote of thanks, sir. So at this junction, I like to give a small announcement. So from next week, we'll be having the physical mode. So now, just now I will hand over the session to Professor Krishnamurthy. Sir, please.
Thank you, Suresh sir, for gracing the occasion in the valedictory function and for your valuable comments. Dear participants, we are closing session 6 via the virtual mode, and from Monday onwards, that is 21st November 2022 till 25th November 2022, we will be having the offline sessions, and I request all the participants who have joined the virtual mode to appear in the offline mode and attend all the sessions and the evaluation so that the FTP will be a great success. Thank you, participants, for joining us for this entire week through the virtual mode and making it a great success. I thank all my coordinators, co-coordinators, and the department members, HODs, or principal, Dean Madam, Dean Director, and my chair. Let us all meet on 21st via the offline mode. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.